Welcome, everybody. It's National Accessibility Week 2023 right here in Nova Scotia. And I couldn't be happier than to be chatting with some of our corporate partners in the community. Nova Scotia Liquor Commission is doing some really important work around their accessibility, and they really wanted to make sure that National Accessibility Week was something that was recognized, not just within their organization, but within the province as well. So it's kind of great that we were able to get both Jen and Ryan here today to talk a little bit about not only NAAW, of course, which I'm going to do, but also some of the things that are going on at NSLC that really align with some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion talk that I know is going around. So welcome both Jen and Ryan, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So first off, let's just jump in, as I often do anyway, I'm known to. I'm thinking about National Accessibility Week, or NAAW, and I know that we're here because we want to overcome roadblocks to inclusion of persons with disabilities. So maybe we could just jump off there and really ask a simple question, which is what's NSLC doing these days to really show what it is to be an inclusive employer, especially it's NAAW Week, around persons with disabilities? Jen, you want to roll?
Sure. So I think that really the NSLC is on a journey right now, and it's sort of a mix between acknowledging, that we're not quite where we want to be, but we're certainly moving forward in a good direction. And I think some of the things that we're really trying to work on and really trying to promote are just being really open and inclusive, but also being really transparent and genuine about where we are in our journey. Because I think that, when you're authentic, I think it resonates more with people. And I think that if you're not, typically people can see through that. So really, with NAAW, we wanted to promote, some of the work that we're doing, but also recognizing that so much of accessibility and inclusion really is a community approach, and it's an intersectional approach. And we really just want more opportunities to be involved with the community in whatever way and capacity we can really do that. So that's really the importance of participating in NAAW for us, is really just to reinforce, again, that community connection.
I really appreciate that. And I want to add that it's been really wonderful developing that relationship and really appreciating the authenticity of you saying, quite simply, we're not all there. We're not making it all work, but we're actually on a road of trying and authentically doing that work that has to be done. And so I really appreciate it. So let's get back to NAAW, because I'm excited. It's celebration. It's celebrating the accomplishments and the achievements of persons with disabilities. So I thought it would be interesting for you to maybe highlight a couple of things that NSLC is doing in terms of that inclusion and accessibility, maybe in the past year, since not 2022. But what are you most really interested in sharing with us in terms of maybe staffing or, customer focus, whatever?
So I think our biggest project, obviously, we completed our accessibility plan, and that was really just the best opportunity to connect with the community and to, sort of put the dots together between pieces that we were already doing, and also really learn about our opportunities to, because it requires so many different perspectives. We hired me, and I'm technically the designated resource for accessibility, which is really great because a lot of corporations aren't always keen to designate resources. So this is really something that we've prioritized, and that I think we're really proud of. And I think in developing the accessibility plan, we've really had to engage all levels of the corporation. And also, engage in research, whether that's, qualitative and quantitative, and the focus groups like we did with Reachability and the Society of Deaf and Hard of Hearing. We worked with them. And I think also having our Accessibility Advisory Committee come together, that's really been a huge win for the corporation, having that first voice experience. I think it's not just about our legal requirement to do these things and to put them together, but I think it really has been a meaningful experience. And again, not just engaging, our retail teams. It's really been about engaging everybody as a whole, so including our board and our executive team and sure that we're generally all aligned as a corporation and all buying into the same vision.
That's a big thing in itself, because what you're talking about literally is structural shifting, taking a culture and shifting it. And that's no small feat. And anyone who's listening to us today already knows, whether they're within the NSLC family or outside as a customer, we all can appreciate that. We know when we're in a place that's inclusive, we can feel it. And as that shift happens, and again, in such a structural environment, it's a big deal. Little moves become big deals because those moves create new moves. So I really want to acknowledge that I appreciate that. And one of the things I know you've been doing is engaging in the training that Reachability provides. And I really appreciate that, because we're going to be talking about hiring and retaining. We're going to talk about disability confidence and what it means. And I was really impressed, again, from that top down approach of making sure everyone's really engaging in what they need to learn and hear and has an opportunity to talk about it. So if you don't mind, Ryan, I'd like to switch over and ask, with this training that we're engaging in, what is NSLC really trying to achieve? I know what I'm trying to get out there, but I'm really interested in what it is you hope your team walks away with.
Yeah, so thanks, Tova. Super excited about the training at all levels. So we're pumped for that. I think my goal within my portfolio of people and culture is really to connect at all levels to increase overall awareness throughout the organization about being an inclusive workplace, about being an inclusive environment for our customers. And by specifically, because we're celebrating disabilities this week, that engaging those of the community with disabilities in participating in this journey. So what I really want to achieve is that people understand the value in engaging that community. And that's both at an employment stage, but also as a customer stage, because I do believe that it's a win for all of us. And I would say that building those partnerships, as Jen touched on, is key. And I really feel like this is just the beginning of starting to ingrain this on an annual, if not more frequently basis, of having that continuing education, because this thing is going to evolve and we want to be one of the partners that are evolving with it.
I really appreciate hearing that. And not just from that reachability perspective, but genuinely as a person who lives with disability and understands that when I hear words like partnership being used, often I feel like someone's checking a box. But what I've been experiencing in my interactions is a group of people who are really committed to, again, this cultural shift that allows everyone to realize that there is at least 3 wins in everything we do when we're inclusive. And I know I have a book. I'm not going there, I swear. But I'm just saying, I really do believe it. There's a reason it's in there. But win, win, win is really about that inclusion approach, that approach of saying no one loses. That's what's so miraculous about inclusion. I don't know what took us so long, but no one has to lose. And that's where I really appreciate your pursuing the education and creating a foundation of understanding as you open those doors, because that's really the proper way to do it. So I wanted to jump back to both of you, and feel free to jump in. I don't want to cut anyone off on this one, but part of Reachability's employment efforts is maintaining a roster of what we call safe and secure employers. And that's what we mean by being really inclusive, accommodating, and as I like to use the term, disability confident, meaning you're not avoiding people with disabilities, you're engaging them where they are. And I think that that's very powerful. So we're pretty sure NSLC is all of those things as you develop, and all of that is happening. But as someone on the inside, I'm really interested in hearing from you. What do you think would make NSLC such a safe and secure employer for my clients, persons with disabilities, in our community of people who maybe don't feel like they've always been so welcomed?
Well, I think the first thing, when you start really engaging in this kind of work, you realize right away that it's not necessarily about accessibility. I mean, that's a focus, but really it's about change management, and it's about changing a culture. So I think some of the things that we started to do are open up safe spaces for us to have conversations, and for people to give meaningful feedback, and for us to create environments where people feel safe and that they can speak up. And I think the other piece too is leading with, your emotional intelligence And I think anticipating the needs of others and anticipating the reactions of others and preparing for those and really putting yourself in the other person's shoes and saying, how might they respond to this, or where might they want to be involved, and anticipating those things. Just trying to really plan for them. And again, really just looking at the environment as a whole and looking at barriers being, physical and attitudinal, and trying to account for all of those things instead of the ones that are just really obvious, trying to go one step further.
I appreciate that. Ryan, did you want to add anything to that? Tough act to
Yeah.
follow.
It is. Jen always is. So I would say that I think that we have a great opportunity at the NSLC. We have a huge footprint across the province. And again, that's both from the employment perspective. We have over 1,800 employees, and we have over 100 stores across the province. And so for us, I think with that comes a great responsibility to really step into this. And I think it starts with our board, down to our executive, and throughout all of our key NSLC team members to take leadership on this. And that's, like Jen said, it's about creating transparent processes that people can access. They understand how to speak out, how to report, how to give us the feedback that we need to do better in this space.
It makes so much sense. I know you know this, but Nova Scotia as a whole has the largest per capita population of people who say, yeah, I got a disability. So as we already are in the role of leaders, in my opinion. So I think it's really wonderful when, as you said, groups like yourselves or agencies like yourselves that have such a big footprint are making a stand. I hope you caught that footprint stand. Anyway, more importantly, I know you have better things to do than listen to my jokes. I am so grateful that you've joined us today, because National Accessibility Week gives me a great deal of joy. And speaking of joy, I wanted to put you both on the spot, Jen and Ryan, and simply ask you, if you wouldn't mind sharing with me, what brings you joy? What sparks joy in you, Jen?
I think right now it's planning my wedding with my family and getting ready for that. It's a very large Greek Orthodox wedding. I think that's probably the biggest thing right now for me.
That's very exciting. And at one time in my life, I was a wedding planner. So I'll be very interested in hearing how everything went. Ryan, you're up. That's right. Again, beat that. We're talking things that give you joy. What sparks joy in your life?
You know what? I'm a simple Cape Breton girl, and I'm just really excited about opening my cottage up to spend some time on the beach with my husband and my dog.
I'm with you. The dog is my number one answer. Thank you all for being here, both of you. I know you're busy folks, but it means a great deal to all of our listeners, our viewers, and most importantly, I'm sure your team, to hear what you're trying to do from the top down. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great National Accessibility Week.